Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I recently posted on IG stories on all the frozen breast milk I've organized and donated for other babies in need and moms who weren't able to produce, and I've donated almost 1,000 ounces so far. In case you didn't know, yes, babies can consume other moms' breast milk as long as the mom is healthy and not taking any medications. But anyway, after posting this on IG, I received a ton of questions on how to increase breast milk production and how to create this freezer stash of breast milk. I produced very little breast milk in the beginning and supplemented with formula for my daughter the first 6 weeks of her life. But in just a matter of weeks, with my new routine and diet, I was able to increase my breast milk production drastically and stop supplementing with formula. So I'm here to tell you everything from my pumping essentials, my pumping routine and schedule, and my diet to help increase breast milk production. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notification on my new videos. And just a disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. Please consult with your doctor before attempting any of the following suggestions. Obviously, you need a pump device. So what I have is the Spectra S2. It's just a double pump. It's an electric pump. It's easier than a manual pump. When I ordered that, it came as a whole set. It included the bottles, the flanges attached to the bottles to attach to your breast, the duckbill valves, and the actual pump itself. So speaking of the duckbill valves, these are the little small valves that attach to the flanges. They're there to express and suck out the milk. The reason why I want to mention this into further detail is because it's important to replace these duckbill valves every 2 to 3 months, especially if you'll be using it daily and multiple times throughout the day. After a while, things wear and tear, so once these valves become flimsy, they won't express as much milk as they should be. Another essential to have is a hands-free pumping bra. Since you'll be spending a lot of time pumping, I like to just have my hands free to use my phone, read a book. I've even folded baby laundry sometimes while I'm pumping. In addition to the Spectra S2 pump that I have, I also have the LV pumps. You don't need this to be able to increase your breast milk production. It's nice to have, but it's not a must-have. The reason why it was nice for me to have because it was portable. So going back to work early, I needed to stick to this strict pumping schedule, and being able to just pop these in my bra and work, or even sit in during meetings, was great because you can't even hear it. It was very silent. Again, nice to have, but not a must-have because it's a little pricey. And one last essential is the Haka pump. The Haka pump is very inexpensive. I think they're about $12 or something, and what you do is you just attach it to one of your breasts while you're feeding your baby. Babies normally fall asleep on one boob and they don't even get to the other boob in time, but the goal of increasing milk production is to express out your milk as much as possible evenly on both sides. So having the Haka on one side while you're nursing your baby on the other side is very useful. Not only are you consistently expressing milk out of your boob, but you also get to catch the milk that you had. And also it's good for if you have a strong letdown, you're leaky on this side, instead of just letting that milk leak onto your clothes, you get to catch the milk instead and then bottle it up for baby later. Just want to let you guys know that this is hard work and it takes a lot of commitment, but this isn't forever. So once you get into this routine, your body will send this signal to your brain that you need to consistently produce more milk, and then once you get to that production level, then you can start scaling back a pump session at a time. I stuck to the schedule for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then I started scaling back on the amount of sessions per day. So what you need to do is pump for 20 to 30 minutes. And you need to pump every 2 hours. You would start to count the 2 hours either from the end of your last pump or the start of your last pump. So for example, if I started pumping at 10 in the morning, I will pump for 30 minutes, so I would end at 10:30, and then 2 hours from that, I will pump again at 12:30. Or you can do it from 2 hours from the start of your last pump, meaning if I started pumping at 10, I will pump again at noon. So that gives me an hour and a half break in between pump sessions. Not only do you do this during the day, it is through the night as well. So I know it sounds very hard. It was very difficult to get up in the middle of the night to go downstairs and pump. You know, you're taking care of a baby also, so it's lack of sleep as well. You can nurse your baby in replace of a pump session if you want to, but you just got to make sure that the schedule is consistent so that you're draining as much milk out as possible. So the goal is the more you pump or nurse, your body will tell your brain that you need to produce more prolactin, which is a hormone for milk production, and that way it'll keep pumping. So, because if you slow down on the pumping or nursing, then your body thinks that, oh, your baby doesn't need that milk anymore. So then the brain won't like tell the body to produce as much milk. So if you choose to nurse your baby in replace of a pump session, just make sure that your baby is draining out from both sides. Or you can also just pump after you nurse your baby. I mentioned the Haka pump earlier, so you can nurse your baby on one boob and then just stick the Haka to the other side. So another tip to do is to power pump once a week. You need to dedicate 1 hour. What you need to do is pump 20 minutes, then you rest 10, and then you pump 10 minutes, then you rest for 10, and then you pump for an extra 10 minutes. So a total of 60 minutes of pump on and off. What this does is it mimics cluster feeding. It kind of just tells your brain to produce more milk because your baby is going through a growth spurt. Another thing to note is that your levels of milk production varies throughout the day. Its highest milk production is usually in the morning between like 5 to 9 in the morning, and it's at its lowest around late afternoon to early evenings. So don't get discouraged if you've been pumping a lot during different sessions and then another session there's like barely any milk. So that's basically it for the pumping routine. You just gotta pump very often. I know it may sound painful, you might have raw nipples, but trust me, your nipples will toughen up. I had raw nipples too, and it was very painful. Every time I would go pump, I would like, just like brace myself right before I hit the start button on the pump. But after that, it got a lot easier. Wait until your child starts teething, yeah. But anyway, you need to hydrate a lot. You should always have water like next to you everywhere you are, like, because you'll be expressing a lot of milk and you need to replenish your body with fluids again. And water is the best thing to replenish with, not soda, not sugary juices or any of that stuff. Oats. You should eat oats, a lot of oats. So any kind of oats is fine. So you could be plain oats, it could be instant oatmeal. Oat milk is also another good source. So apparently oats help increase breast milk production by a lot. So just make sure you eat your oats. Another ingredient to include in your diet is called brewer's yeast. So what brewer's yeast is normally used in producing bread and beer. You can use brewer yeast and oats to make lactation cookies and lactation muffins. They're actually good to snack on. They taste pretty good, and that helps increase the breast milk production as well. So speaking of yeast and beer, there have been studies showing that the yeast in the beer helps with the breast milk production. However, alcohol also decrease milk production. So there's a very thin line between beer and whether it helps with the breast milk production or not. So you would have to probably drink like a very, very light beer and just limit it to one, but mainly because of that brewer's yeast ingredient in it. So you don't have to drink beer to increase breast milk production. You can just use brewer's yeast in like cookies, lactation cookies or muffins. So another thing to continue is prenatal vitamins. There's no direct correlation with prenatal vitamins and increased breast milk production, but it is good for you and baby to continue that dietary supplement. Another supplement you should consider is fenugreek. So fenugreek is a plant herb. They actually use this a lot in Indian spices, but they have it in supplement forms, and it helps with the increased milk production and also other health benefits, like it'll lower your A1C levels, blood sugar, and also lower your cholesterol. So another drink that I consume to help with breast milk production is called the pink stork lactation tea. So I found this off Amazon, and again, everything mentioned will be linked below. This tea also contained herbs like fenugreek that I just mentioned and thistle, and apparently these herbs help with increased breast milk production. Apricots and dates are also good things to snack on to help with your milk production. They're just dried dehydrated fruits, very calcium rich and high in fiber to also help with digestion. So those are pretty much the main things, and overall it's just important to maintain a healthy diet in general. It should also include things like bone broth recipes, because there's a lot of essential fatty acids in there, and a ton of vitamins. Make sure to include lean protein meats, eggs, nuts, leafy greens like kale, spinach, and whole grains are good to also consume. Salmon and sardines are also very healthy. Those are healthy fats with omega-3s. Of course, you can eat junk food, because I still eat junk food here and there. I'm not saying you have to have like a perfect healthy diet, so it's totally okay to have junk food, but just know that your body will appreciate more of a well-balanced diet than just junk food all the time. Try your best to get adequate sleep. I know it sounds impossible with this intense schedule, pumping schedule, and taking care of a baby. It's like, yeah, not possible to get sleep. But if you're just too tired to get up and pump, then it's a-okay to just rest instead. At the end of the day, your health is more important than creating a freezer stash of breast milk. There are other food alternatives for baby that your baby will thrive on just fine. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Try to avoid increasing your levels of cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone in your body. It mimics like a built-in alarm system when your body is not doing well. So things like lack of sleep and increased stress usually increases level of cortisol. When you have high levels of cortisol in your body, it will decrease your milk production. You should avoid excessive amounts of alcohol, caffeine. So you can definitely have a cup of joe when you want. It won't hurt. But excessive amounts of caffeine will throw your body water levels off balance. So you just want to make sure you're hydrating a lot to counter the levels of caffeine in your system. Parsley, peppermint, cinnamon, and certain chili spices in excess may also decrease milk production. So yes, you can still have parsley with your pasta or whatever, but excess meaning if you sit there and eat a whole bunch of parsley, the entire bunch, then that might have an effect on decreasing milk production, because these are known to help when you wean off to stop breast milk production. But in this video, we don't want to do that. So just try to avoid in excess of those herbs and spices. One last thing to note is that certain medications can also have an effect in your milk production, but I don't know much about medications regarding that, but you should consult your physician. Those are all the tips I have for you all. I remember vividly on all those sleepless nights, blood literally from my nipples, sweat, and tears from breastfeeding and pumping in the beginning. So know that you're not alone in this. However, just know that you are a great mom regardless if you choose to feed your baby breast milk, formula, or a mixture of both. You might have heard breast is best, but honestly, fed is best. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as your baby is fed. But if you feel like you can, then I hope you were able to gain some useful tips from this video. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you didn't take notes, don't worry, just visit my blog for a recap. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.